basically a rocket hit right in the city center. So I asked myself the question, how is Ukraine right now? Join me as I will take you along on a couple of different cities. In the last video I've covered the capital, Kyiv. And while the city is defiant and alive, you see signs from the war. But today I want to take you to 3 different cities. To the very far east, Kharkiv, where parts of the city center has been completely destroyed. But much more, I want to show you also the beautiful sides of this country, the port city of Odesa and a city in the west that luckily hasn't been affected as much, to feel and see. How is Ukraine right now, and how it's not just surviving, but how it's living. Right now, in a fairly tricky place, the city of Kharkiv, in the very east of the country. Took the train. Actually, fairly surprisingly, all of the infrastructure within Ukraine is really operating. The trains are running everywhere, and so this is the lux cabin of one of the oldest trains I've ever seen in Ukraine. Pretty nice still, super comfortable seats. But yeah, it's like a, what is it, 9-10 hour train ride to Kharkiv. Wanna get a bit of an idea of that city. And there was a crazy air alarm that went off in the morning. Anytime I've been before in Ukraine, it always intrigued me. I've always was like, hey, there's this big city. I knew it's kind of bigger. I didn't know it's actually very significant. We're gonna talk about that in a second. So this huge structure behind me is the Держprom, which from what I understand has been built during the Soviet Union. Absolute brutal, huge structure. I don't know if they rebuilt it or repainted it, but it's gonna walk further into the Freedom Square. And a lot of people recommended not to go right now. This is pretty much the highest alert. This city has been bombed significantly. Actually, during the beginning of the invasion, they occupied most of Kharkiv Oblast, not the city itself, but really in the beginning, from what I read, the quarter of the city has been pretty much destroyed. And yeah, what Liza just told me is that it's the second largest.
Yeah, second largest city of Ukraine after Kyiv, and it's like first capital. It's considered as first capital of Ukraine. And yeah, big city, big universities, educational, cultural center.
Had you never been, right?
Yeah, it's my first time here also.
So yeah, just rolled in, checked into a hotel back there, had a little coffee, and I don't know, the city is fairly quiet. Prices in the city very low, like really nice hotel in the back there for like 30 euro, probably because nobody is visiting right now for good reasons. Anybody, if you say to anybody in this region, they're like, better don't go. Or, oh, there's like some party going on, let's check that out. Some old-timer parties. So basically this is the Freedom Square. Yeah, one day here, there's the Kyiv Zoo, which I'm quite intrigued to check out because, again, during that time when there was a large risk of losing the city, there was problems in the zoo. It was hard to get food to the animals, and from what I read, basically they evacuated a bunch of animals, took them to other zoos. But I think it's operating again, so it is actually also quite interesting to see how it looks right now. But yeah, let me just turn around. I think you have been seeing it all along. Huge Freedom Square, very brutalist. But from what I hear is lots of churches. And yeah, I did not know this is the second largest city in Ukraine, so interesting. And I'll take you a bit through, take a couple of shots. Just one day here. Well, and the people, the old-timers, nothing can stop them.
Nice Ukrainian music is playing.
But one thing you definitely have to say here in the center is that it's not busy, and most of the buildings are pretty much blocked up, the windows with wood. I'm like, infrastructure looks kind of interesting. What kind of windows are that? But then I realized pretty much all of them are closed down, including this big government building over there. But very, very nice big square. So right now walked to the end of the street and walked into this post. And I think this is what I saw on the internet during the beginning of the war. They still keep the rocket that, I don't know if this is the one in particular, but basically a rocket hit right in the city center. This building from the far you don't see it, but basically it got heavily damaged. They somewhat restored it already. There you still see some dark signs. I think it was on that side. And I think I've been seeing a clip from this exact road when it was bombed, and basically the city center of Kharkiv really suffered. And yeah, look at that. So basically it's like a memorial they set up. I'm just trying to see what it's reading, but yeah. So from what I understand, this is like the center, the administrative center, and walking down should be the city center. But as always, it has been almost 2 years ago. I feel like the city here is getting a bit busier. My guess is that because it's kind of like administrative part, not too busy there. Some people walking by, having their wedding day. Saturday in a little side street of Kharkiv, mostly beautiful, and then you're just strolling a bit in. Заходи на кофе. Come in for coffee. Absolutely destroyed building. Here's a fairly modern high-rise. It's all next to the government building I just showed you. I don't know if it was one strike that did it all or multiple ones, but yeah, it looks like this building got hit on the roof over there. Now it must be multiple. Ooh, heavy street. Didn't expect to actually see this in the city center because I don't know if I've already included the footage from Irpin, the shortly occupied territory around Kiev. There they have done an amazing job rebuilding like more than 90% of everything. But here right in the city center, for now, that's how it looks.
It's crazy. Bullets. Mine is coming.
So walking through the city, sometimes you get an alert on your phone. I have not installed like any applications in terms of that. Yeah. Emergency alert. Oblastna Військова
Administracja?
Yeah. Відбій.
Nice. We are safe now.
Absolutely beautiful church in the park. I have to tell you, Kharkiv so far, I didn't know much about the city. It's absolutely beautiful, actually, really nice walkways and beautiful church. Looks almost perfect, besides the fact that the roof, I don't know if it's from the impact of the neighboring buildings or what exactly happened here, was partly damaged. They're fixing things up over here. But it's one of the nicest churches I've seen. Look at it. So while in Kharkiv, decided to go for some authentic Ukrainian food, and I have to tell you the setting, wow, super nice. Very cute local spot on the corner. From what I hear, is something very special about the oven. They do it really old school, but the best part is, look at that. Got one of the most famous churches of Kharkiv right next to it. Looks absolutely beautiful, and I love the vibe of it. So let's go in. Let's see what we're looking at here. Nice little mural on the wall. So we got the bench seating, little tables, and the inside area. Iced tea. Wow, inside it looks also very authentic. The music is probably copyrighted, so let's go out and let's order something. What do they have?
I cannot decide. I guess we'll start with kvass. It's
Nice.
Fermented drink, very common in Ukraine.
Яловичі зараз і є свино.
Яловичі. І половину борщу.
Теж яловичі буде?
Яловичі, так.
Окей, він йде без сметани.
So, I'm gonna be having some proper Ukrainian food here. Ordered some borscht, some soup, some kind of meat mix. Oh, what is it? Any idea? The meat?
Meat
Yeah.
is like pork, but long cooked. And
We'll
it's like
Ripped. Yeah? Okay, cool. And I've ordered some salad. I don't remember last time I was eating salad, but we got some borscht, so let's go. We're looking at some, what is it? Beetroot?
beetroot kvass.
Beetroot kvass.
Heavy.
So it's like fermented, kind of like beer but without alcohol, made out of beetroot. The one we had in the other restaurant was a bit more like light. This one is
This one is real. Now we're talking.
and some like fruit type of
It's from dried fruits.
from
It's-
dried fruits.
Yeah, it's like a drink from dried fruits. They are boiled with some sugar, with some herbs, and it's considered as very healthy drink.
Wow, let's believe it. Okay. А это не копченое?
Не, маринованные.
Okay. Wow, wow, wowie. So the borscht looks very solid, to say the least. We got some salad, got some little, what is it, pampushka, and what is this?
Юшка and паляниця.
And some, what kind of soup is that? You got there?
Юшка.
Юшка.
It's just chicken. Wow, it's very good.
Yeah.
The best chicken soup of my life.
Nice.
Really, like for real, not for camera, for real.
All right, so let's try the borscht. It is a cooked borscht. You know, it's like I'm not the biggest fan of borscht, but I want to try it at every place I go to, which is not many. Very good. Like, it tastes clean in the sense that you feel the different ingredients. Super nice. So with it, we got some nice salad. Not really any sauce, so let's use this. It's not pure fat, some meat in there as well. Very nice. You get this nice bun for the borscht. We're waiting for the meat. Did they bring us the right thing? It was supposed to be like shredded. Smells good. So ran into the most type of old school market. Super vibe. What a vibe. Look at that. People selling their antiques. Got some CDs, some DVDs going.
Shadows landscape from the things I want to escape, knowing full and well I'll stay connected with my health.
And so we are, in many ways you could say, the pearl of Ukraine. Don't know if anybody ever said that, but this is Odesa, the pretty much you could say most popular town for short trips, getaways. Tourism here used to be across the board, also fairly international back in the day. It's a port city, so we have beaches, we have the vibe here is actually very different. And I have to tell you, throughout this time in Ukraine, right now this is the second visit. It's like 4 or 5 hour drive depending how fast you drive from Kiev, and it's also one of the largest cities. What is it, third largest?
Yeah, something like
After
that.
Kharkiv, I think. Around 1 million people, is that right? Something like that. And so obviously fairly large city, but it feels nothing like the rest. Also the energy of the people, it's a port town, it's a tourism town, people are very social, very approachable, you could say. And also in many ways it's probably one of the most beautiful places, very distinct, so it doesn't really look similar to any other towns. It's also fairly famous back in the day. It used to be kind of like I would coin it the Sicily of Ukraine, in the sense of, like, I don't know how many decades ago there used to be like gangs and obviously like things like that. So it's very famous. There's a lot of, like, let's say, jokes and certain stereotypes about the city, mostly positive. Mostly it's like everybody thinks it's a cool city. But I have to tell you now, filming as of the end of August, it's a bit busier than on the first visit, but still it's nothing compared to how it usually is. But at the same time, you know, the people that are inside of the country that still want to kind of, you feel it. This is Deribasovskaya Street, the center of it. I personally, it's not my favorite street, but it's kind of like, you know, most of the things are around here, lots of restaurants, and around it I want to give you a bit of a tour. Once again, on the one side showing you how life is on the ground right now, on the other side it's absolutely, I would say, like, it's kind of like the triangle of Ukraine in terms of the famous cities: Lviv, Kiev and Odesa. And for living, I probably think Kiev is the best, but for kind of like getting the vibe, and also the beaches are surprisingly better than I remember them back in the day when I visited. The thing is, I mentioned it before, still, even in this time, new businesses are popping up, new restaurants. Just walked into, very casually, very unassuming restaurant. Check it out. So it's really good to see that life is continuing. Again, it's nothing compared to how it used to be, especially when I was here, like, what was a couple of weeks ago. It was one of the first stops that I did to actually get a feeling of the country. The street here is mostly empty. Now you even see a city tour bus. Also, the Airbnb situation really changed. Like a couple of weeks back, outside of, like, right now season, there was a lot of like Airbnbs for $30, pretty decent one. They're all now all booked out, or up to like 50, 60. So still, obviously, international tourism, as mentioned before, is 10-20% of what it used to be, but in many ways one of the most beautiful cities. So this is the Central Park, and this building here inside, I think, is not operating right now. They kind of renovated, and Odesa has been hit hard. Obviously, it doesn't have the defenses that Kiev has. When I was last time here, I've actually been here during a strike on this city. I've heard it, I've seen it in the distance, smoke coming up. So it's part of the reality of being on the ground. You never know. Power outages again are happening here very heavily. So you hear the generators pumping, kind of like these little gas things on the side of the road to, yeah, supply the whatever, shops, restaurants with electricity. So definitely one of the more dangerous places to be in this time, or of the more unpredictable ones, as we are also closer to the front line. But still, people don't let themselves get down. People are living their life, making memories. Absolutely beautiful park right in the center next to Deribasovskaya Street. That's probably my favorite part of this one. But let's get down to the port. Let me show you why it's so famous. We're right at the Black Sea. On the other side, we're facing pretty much Turkey. You don't see it, it's far, but yeah, the pearl of the Black Sea. Wow, huh? So one thing Odesa is absolutely famous for is their different restaurants. Here I happen to walk into a Greek one, and I have to tell you, wow, what a concept. Look at that. So they made the whole roof kind of really cool. Downstairs they have an open oven, you see that? They're grilling right on real fire. Wow, it's beautiful here, seriously. Might be one of the best I've ever seen. Actually, we were planning to sit outside, but checking here is like a nice little outside terrace. Let's give it a look. And the best thing is those are like proper, like, you know, luxury restaurants in many ways, but the pricing is slightly higher than regular. Nice little terrace. I think we're gonna sit here. So we have been escorted to the outside area, and what were you just saying about Odesa? Like restaurants?
That every restaurant is like a masterpiece. Whenever you go, wherever you go. Yeah, it's a very cool concept. Now we are in a Greece kind of restaurant, and it looks insane inside, and outside there is a little yard with this flowers, fountain, and the atmosphere is just insane. And the Jewish cuisine is amazing and very popular here.
Yeah, and it's also nice to be sitting inside right now, because on the outside everywhere generators are running. Again, power outages. For a while it used to be less frequent. Now they're back to the generator game. And sometimes the generators make like a noise, kind of like a shooting noise, and everybody is paranoid. Everybody's like, oh, what? So yeah, again, the economy needs to continue, life needs to continue. Many people try as much as possible to live their life as per usual, because what you obviously don't want is for everybody to be scared to go spend a little bit of money on like a meal, and with that nothing could be working. So a lot of people are confused, is like, well, why are the restaurants operating if the country is in such a bad situation? It's like, well, it would be only even worse if everybody would kind of like capitulate and just be like, ah, yeah, let's stop, like, you know, operating all the restaurants and all the other things. Of course, tourism is very low, but, and also like most restaurants are not really full. You notice it. Capacity usually throughout the year, you probably would need reservations in a place like that, but yeah, let's see what they have. Like unbelievable. 100 grams, and then you can get some like chicken skewers, $5. You can get a soup, $3-4. Walking down the city center, very close by, behind me, the Odesa Opera Theater, and I have to tell you, God bless.
Thank you.
It's like for real, the architecture, the level of the construction. I just looked it up. It was first constructed in like 1800 something, then it was burned like 150 years ago. They reconstructed it, and truly, like, it's on the level of like a Vienna Opera Theater. I've been inside once, absolutely beautiful. And yeah, so this is it. As you see, they're always kind of like keeping it up, doing a lot of maintenance work on it. So truly, in many ways, like the cultural center of the city. Heading down to the port right now, and that's what I mean. It's like not just some building. Truly, with some better marketing over the years, hopefully, this has absolutely the potential to be like a legendary place. And also, truly world-class people are performing here over the years, from what I've heard.
Walking in the shadows, landscape from the things I want to escape, knowing full and well.
Down by the water, I'm gonna show you the port in a second. We have a very nice park, but at the same time, I think at some point there was a strike on some of these buildings, and also as obviously precautionary measure, some kind of zoo there going on. They pretty much boarded up all the windows. Also, there used to be like a lot more cafes. There's like the famous Duke statue, the Duke of Odesa, also boarded it up. And we're approaching right now the Potemkin Stairs, another iconic spot. Yeah. This is the statue I've mentioned, protected in case there's going to be a strike on here. And this is the Black Sea port, one of the main ports, import-export of Odesa. From what I know, it is operating to some capacity, but the building is largely destroyed. The main tower, I think maybe it was a hotel at some point. But still, here you have the Potemkin stairs. People like to come out to take photos here. It's like a famous spot, and all the way down you get down to the port. Random side roads of the city center. Seriously guys, look at that architecture, that detail. An old building, not in the best condition, but we have these like statues on it. Again, a boarded up building, but the beauty of it, it's like not particularly considered like old town. It's just the center, the side roads, truly a vibe. Like Liza over there is actually also recording a video about Odesa, and we were just talking about the fact that usually, like when the city is fairly frequented internationally, it's like it depends. Like many places in Europe are super famous for how nice they are. France, Italy, Greece, the beaches. And to be fair, like in terms of beaches, Italy, Greece cannot like it's just a different kind of beach. Like here you have the Black Sea, so obviously the water quality. Also right now, if you want to go swimming, there's sometimes signs, be careful of water mines that might be flooded in. Like if you find one,
Jellyfish.
Yeah, jellyfish in some seasons. If you find a mine, like being careful might not help you anymore. But the thing is, in terms of the cost compared to what you get, as well as just the authenticity of these kind of towns in Ukraine, you know, Odesa is probably number one in that sense. It's world class, I would really say it. And still, some people, I know of some people, they're like, yeah, like I know a guy watched a video walking down one road, a missile strikes on the other one where you could have gone as well. So there is of course a danger, statistically speaking. Bristol Hotel, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So obviously you have some nice hotels here too. Probably occupancy rate still fairly low, but who knows. Statistically speaking, I would say something happening to you, like if you're going to more dangerous countries in terms of tourism, be it South America, be it statistically something happening to you is higher than here. But still, obviously I'm not encouraging you necessarily if you don't have the adventurous spirit. But at the same time, I do know of some people coming here right now, and hopefully soon after the victory, Odesa will be a
The
spot.
most famous tourist beach town in the world.
Tourist beach town.
Yes.
Okay, I see. Behind the scenes. Very ambitious, very ambitious. So here we have some beautiful Bristol hotel. I think I've actually saw it on the map. It's definitely not on the cheap side, that's for sure. And you can tell why. Like seriously, again, the details. Wow. A little bit outside of the city is the Taras Shevchenko Park. Fairly large greenery, nothing too much to write home about, but once you go to the water, you get these super epic kind of like parks with monuments. People are maintaining everything here. Some type of monument that says to an unknown sailor 1960. Not sure what it is, but what I like about these type of monuments is they have this eternal fire burning. So basically this never goes off, maybe with a few technical exceptions, but hopefully not. Yeah, very, very cool. And we got the sad vegan. Very cute man.
I give money, animal give me love.
What a change of vibe. We are by the beach, one of the main beaches, the first beaches in pretty much the coast is fairly far. Like there's another very kind of like busy area called Arcadia, party, nightlife. Again, right now there's no such thing, but like all along the coast, as I said, some fairly nice beaches, some nice kind of like beach cafes. They put up some things to lay down on. Nice smell. Some people are fishing, and the reason the energy is so crazy here, the music, lots of people, is there is a kind of like a dolphin zoo show type of thing, whatever it may be. So kids are going crazy around here, and I kind of like it because it's fairly famous. I think over there is the public beach. We'll take a look at that Some men are doing fishing over there, and yeah.
Very cool place for fishing. It should be professionals. We should ask for a fish.
For a fish, yeah. Let's see. Maybe in his bag. So the thing is, actually, right now is summer. So very, very hot, 30-degree plus, can even get more, much more. Like 35 sometimes. But the thing is, in winter, it gets really cold. So actually, sometimes even like the beginning of the water kind of like freezes down. Well, right now, you can imagine the smell right now, a little bit like
Seaweed.
Yeah, seaweed smell. And like I said before, depending on the season, the water sometimes is more clean, less clean. But generally, for the most part, it's definitely swimmable. And actually, last time I was here on the beach a couple of weeks ago, the water was actually pretty clear. Surprisingly, like a really nice beach establishment. But yeah, a couple of these things. City center is there, kind of like half an hour walk, 40-minute walk.
You don't like it?
No, it's a sure, you know.
Yeah, and without cheese. But cheese is very cool. It's cheap.
Yeah, that stuff there is sick. Some like beef cutlets, puree,
Puree?
mashed potatoes basically, with
Mashed green peas.
spinach or something. Oh, mashed green peas. Okay. Here's some kind of meat
Adjika.
type of thing. Super nice. Дякую. Станем. Ooh, and another absolutely super unique concept. What is it? Mama Liga?
Mama Liga.
Mama Liga. Let's go. So basically, just a completely newly open restaurant. Been here only a couple of weeks ago in this city, and it's kind of like traditional Ukrainian food with a bit of a twist, right?
Yeah.
Like it was not mashed potatoes, it was mashed peas. And
Mashed potatoes is not the Ukrainian dish. They cook with local products, and they cook the cuisine of one part of Ukraine. So just one part have a large variety of dishes, very unique. It's Bessarabia. It's near Odesa. So yeah, very simple food, I would say, like what we eat. We eat some porridge with some cheese, with some sour cream, and it's the dish. But it's cooked very good. So it's, yeah, I like it.
was good, was good.
Yeah,
And what was the total? Like $20 tip on top for like 3 solid dishes. Nice. Huh?
4 dishes.
Yeah, one was appetizer.
Yeah.
The Golden City. I just made that up. Guys, I don't know how this whole Ukraine shooting turned into literally a cross-country trip. I've been here for a good few weeks, but mostly I've spent my time in Kiev by, like, let's say, in terms of how the city is protected, many consider it the safest. But realistically speaking, all the way in the west, obviously, very far from the front line, are some cities that have been, to some extent, minimally affected. You maybe hear the background noise. The generators are back on. Electricity is falling out once again. But we are in a city that luckily hasn't suffered too much. You told me a lot of people actually moved here during the war.
From Kiev and other cities.
Yeah, imagine living in this city, right?
Yeah.
Imagine like how cute it is to grow up, to raise a family here. I mean, not, you know, nothing.
I know.
Like,
I know.
planning.
I know everything you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do? Why?
Because I was born here.
Oh, shit. So we are.
Used to be so young and free, but now I'm bound by the bonds that be.
So we are in Liza's hometown right now, the town of Chernivtsi. All the way in the west, very close to the Romania border, pretty close to another very huge hub, the city of Lviv. Honestly, I've never really liked Lviv that much. It's one of the most beautiful cities, one of the most western cities. I think it used to be part of like different empires, so there's a lot of like, from what I think, like Polish, Austro-Hungarian, right?
Yeah, mostly
Influences.
Polish.
If you want to say anything wrong now, I'm going to be fried in the comments, I'm sure. But here, I have to say, when I first came here, I was like, wow, it's kind of like a smaller vibe Lviv, but without all the tourism hassle and anxieties. You said it became even busier in the last like year or two.
Yeah, it was pretty chill all the time, but war started and many people relocated to Chernivtsi because it's considered as the safest city. Wait.
Let's go. We have 2 seconds. No, I'm kidding. Don't. So yeah, you basically, what is it? Lived here all your life, pretty much.
Till 16, yeah.
And then you moved to Kiev.
Yeah.
And I have to say, what I was just saying is that in many ways I was extremely surprised by the fact that a fairly small town, you told me like 300,000 population roundabout. So for Ukraine, it's like mid-sized city, but again, in terms of like how the streets look, how much there is going on, how many different like restaurants there are here. And like I said before, this is one of the least affected parts of the country, only in terms of like energy infrastructure. Like there was no hits here.
No hits.
Like it's not really a target, luckily, or maybe whatever. Let's heavily hope it's gonna stay like that. But it's a super beautiful city in many ways. Like we have a big square, lots of really old kind of like very European buildings in the sense there's so much detail in them. On the roofs you have different statues. Lviv looks somewhat similar, but here is a little bit cuter, a little bit old school still. You see some older buses riding around. And yeah, I think in this video I haven't talked about it. Like how did your life look when the war started? We didn't know each other back then.
Yeah. So I was in Kiev when everything started, and it was a super hard and difficult time for everybody because no stability, you don't know for how long it's gonna.
Well, the first day when it happened, like what did you do? What did you left the first day or?
Yeah, I left in the evening on the first day, me and my sister.
In February, right?
Yeah, 24th February in the evening we were leaving Kiev, and it was very difficult because first of all very long quiz on a gas station because everybody was buying gas.
Yeah.
So the road to the Chernivtsi, instead of 8 hours, took us more than 24.
And then how long did you stay here before you left Ukraine?
Months.
1 month?
Yeah.
And then you left, yeah?
And then I left.
Whew, yeah, well, the first time I heard that story, it's quite, you know, lived here through the beginning of the war. I remember I was in Thailand at that time, and nobody could believe it. I think people on the ground as little as people abroad. You hoped things would calm down quickly, but here we are 2.5 years later. But enough, I would say, heavy stories, unless you got some. Always,
just ask me.
No, like genuinely in many ways I think I filmed in many different cities, and obviously it's a very heavy topic, it's a very complicated situation. It's not, but you have to appreciate cities like that. Like when you told me about your hometown, I was like, yeah, we can check it out, I'm sure. Like I love this small town. Like for me it's like two extremes. Either it's a big city where I'm like, wow, it's livable, or show me the smallest, weirdest town where life is like 50 years ago. Like those are kind of like what I like. And I have to say, I did not expect like Chernivtsi, in my opinion, to be better than Lviv. So what I'm talking about is here. It's one of the main squares right now we're passing through. Unfortunately, the generators are on, so I cannot film for too long. It's gonna get really loud in a minute. But super nice shopping promenade. Super nice vibe in the city. It's fairly small, cozy. And yeah, a lot of people relocated here, so if ever you get the chance to visit, put this city on your list. Chernivtsi. You gonna make a video about it?
Sure.
Show them this city. It's really Да, проходи. Here, look at that, guys. Come to Chernivtsi, find the wife. This one's busy. Guys, I mean, look at this. Brand new pizza place.
We were in this place in Odesa.
Yeah. Mimosa, right?
Yeah.
Hello. Like I said, they're a bit on the younger side, but coming up. Что тут?
Декілька фото вам назад.
Что тут?
Декілька фото.
You speak?
Photo and newspaper for you.
Photo and newspaper?
Yeah.
But for like payment, right? Nah, it's okay. It's okay. Very
Stay
nice
here.
camera. Nah, it's okay. Have a good day, guys.
1 second. It's happening.
Just for you or?
Yeah, for you. It's
I'm okay.
like
All right.
present for you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. My Ukrainian is a bit rusty, but nice boys.
Yeah, they're like, I learned English at school. Let me show up. Let me perform.
Yeah, a second ago, a girl offered us chocolates,
Yeah.
but they're selling the photos, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that!
It's like
Wow!
present.
Look at you. You're
Oh,
funny.
And second present.
Second present is coming. Oh, but where's me? Only the girl, huh? I see you guys. I see you. Thank you.
For real? Like
Yeah.
for real? For
Yeah.
real? For real?
You love that, huh?
Oh my god, I look nice.
You're beautiful.
So cute.
No, I'm standing there. They're like, we're taking a photo. You're running off. They're taking a photo of you. Cute.
Yeah.
You're like, ha ha. I stay there and I talk to people. Chernivtsi Gazeta.
Yeah, always dreamed when I was a kid to be in Chernivtsi newspaper.
Dreams come true. Gotta work.
Story about this cafe. It's the oldest cafe on this street. It's called Vidinska kaviarnia, which means Vienna coffee, and it's crazy good. It always was the best, and it was the only one for a long time in the whole street, and everybody was crazy about this place. And now it's still there. I think we can see the year. It's 2000. Yeah.
Wow.
In 2000 it was open. And for almost 30 years it's operating here.
Looks very cool. So many nice cafes here. It's crazy. Oh, like mid-sized small town. But you said it's like a business town from your perception, like a family business, heavy.
Family business, yeah. Lots of people have some kind of business, small or big, or yeah. And restaurants, cafes, it's like cultural thing here. Many Jewish lives here, so that's why the city is considered as rich.
And also, I don't know why, but you do notice this city is like, let's say, the most colorful one we've seen so far. Maybe you don't notice, but like this green building, yellow one. So yeah, this is basically kind of like the main promenade. Around there are a couple of smaller streets. We'll walk in there, but really the city is famous for its university, right?
Yeah.
Is it
university?
old
UNESCO,
building, right?
Yeah.
But generally, historically speaking, like most people come to Lviv to kind of see this type of vibe.
Architecture.
Yeah, but I have to tell you, it's always or often cities you don't really hear about. I've never heard of this city before, and surprisingly, I would say is my top 3: Kyiv, Odesa, and then Chernivtsi. Yeah, and then probably Kharkiv.
Zaporizhzhia?
Lviv is better than Zaporizhzhia, I have to give it that.
Okay.
So yeah, the top 5s. Going to your home?
Yeah, welcome to my village. I'm a village girl.
Seriously?
Hello.
Пошли. This is where you grew up?
Yeah, place of my childhood.
Hilarious. old Ukraine. So how does it work?
You pay 20 hryvnias and then red button. And whenever you're ready, yeah.
Oh, that was weak. Shit, I need to go one more time.
That's how this machine make money.
Did you buy for us there?
I
Or what
bought
did I
a
buy?
ticket. Yeah, you bought the ticket basically to the scariest attraction in all Luna Park. And
like you told me, it's the same things from like 20 years ago.
yeah.
And there's electricity outages.
Yeah, and that's why it's even more
And there is a loop.
scary. Yeah, and there is a loop, and it's very scary, like it's blackout and the electricity can be off, and it's very tricky, and I don't know why we're doing this right now, but you kind of wanted it, so
Show us.
yeah.
Nice. This thing here, the most extreme rail ride of Chernivtsi.
Yeah.
Lock in, and then we're gonna somehow strap it. Woo! So here we are.
I hope we're not gonna die.
You're always like, haha, should we go? Haha,
Oh,
haha.
no.
Here we are. So what is it? I think it has a loop. And
Yeah,
I
it
think we
has
go
a
for
loop.
2 rounds.
No, please.
100 dollar. Oop.
Она когда-то ломалась, скажите честно.
На этой неделе нет, да? The man said it doesn't break often. This week so far didn't. There we go. Let's fucking go. Whoa, let's go.
I feel
What do you feel?
how old it is.
What do you feel?
How old it is.
Yeah, probably older than you.
Yes.
Oh my god. Alright. So, this thing is probably older than you?
Yes.
Well,
Got a world to see.
damn right. I'm down. And so guys, it has been quite a trip. Not sure if it's gonna be a long video or potentially divided into two. I've been here for quite a couple of weeks, much longer than I thought. When first coming to the country, you obviously don't know what to expect. Of course, you know, people are here, people are surviving, and in some ways they're trying to do more than that. They're trying to live. And in case you're new here by any chance on the channel, generally for many years now I've been building this YouTube channel, documenting my life. I've always wanted to see the world, and at some point I started to understand that the world has a lot to offer, and this part of the world, and very particularly Ukraine, has been a place that I've been visiting every other year for a long time. And the reason for that is a part of my family is from here. I've even visited my grandma, another city that is pretty much right at the front line. She has a townhouse which is a couple of kilometers away from the front line, basically, which you're not allowed to freely go to. And it was quite a surreal experience to talk to them. They were telling me stories of when they were started. Everybody was super scared, hiding in the kind of hallways of the buildings or going into the shelter. But at some point, people almost get adapted to it, in the sense of, well, you got lucky most of the time, and then at some point when there's air raids, air alarms, which happen pretty much every day in most cities, they were telling me, like, even like, well, you know, in the middle of the night, an air alarm, at some point some people don't even get out of bed because it became such a daily occurrence that people just try to somehow continue and live their life from you. And I wanted to visit for a long time, since the war started. Obviously, especially in the beginning, it was highly not advised. At this point, I think I've mentioned it before in the parts about Kiev that surprisingly there's still, what is it, 1 million visitors in Kiev or in Ukraine last year. So obviously nothing compared to what it used to be. In terms of if it's safe to come, it's obviously not safe to come. Statistically speaking, compared to other destinations that are genuinely, like, let's say, dangerous in terms of maybe like petty crime, things like that, Ukraine is very safe. It's kind of like a tight country. Most cities, nothing really happens like on the small level, obviously, for forever pretty much. I think Ukraine has so much potential in terms of, I would say, mostly the people. Like, always I've perceived the people here to be very hardworking, very sharp, intelligent, and especially in the last couple of years, maybe the last decade, you've really seen that the youth of the country is really orienting itself towards the outside world, international world. Most people speak pretty good English, and I thought there's a great future to come, because obviously after the fall of the Soviet Union, and obviously also during it, it was full of corruption, full of and once it fell apart, like, people grabbed their pieces that they could get. And that's why this part of the world never pretty much has been as successful as the rest of Europe, even though especially Ukraine has so much going for it. And like I mentioned before in the Kiev part, I still believe, like, demographically speaking, a lot of people have left the country, and it's tough for many people. Many people had to leave. And the thing is, it has been going on for so long at this point that, of course, whenever something big happens, which is every other week, it is in a news cycle. But when it first started, everybody posted the flags. There was a lot of attention on it. Of course, that positively affected the international support. It was been huge, which I also think is a big part of why the country is still, let's say, functioning to some extent. But you have to say, like, honestly, in terms of adoption of technology, like, you can pretty much pay with Apple Pay everywhere, even at like small stands. Everything is working in terms of like trains, electricity outages. Of course, there's not much you can do if an electricity station gets bombed and somehow you need to reroute from one place to, you know, that is what it is. And in some ways, these last couple of weeks have been filled full of sad moments, but also I've seen the country like I haven't seen it before. I've went to cities that I've never even heard of, like I mentioned before, and I've seen the beauty of this country even more than before. So thank you for joining me along today. This was for me also in many ways. Yeah, if you are interested in Ukraine, share it with a friend. If you ever wanted to visit, you have to obviously weigh out absolutely the risk for yourself. Many people do, like, relatively speaking, very few to before, but surprisingly, I did see a good amount of internationals on the ground. And it's an interesting time, you know, if you are into adventure travel, you're truly gonna, in some ways, like I said, some parts of the life, if you don't watch the news, it might seem normal. But on the other hand, while I was on the ground, I have seen a few explosions out of the window, far away, but still, it's a surreal experience. It makes you reflect a little bit on the history, obviously, especially of this continent, but the world really. If you are lucky to live in a part of the world where you only see all these conflicts and wars on TV, then it seems like an abstract concept. You don't really know how is it on the ground. And obviously there's different types of conflicts. There are sometimes situations where completely the whole society is broken and nothing really works and chaos breaks out. And I think this is also a testament to the people that it's still somehow working. Life somehow is continuing, and truly nobody that I have talked to here, nobody's pessimistic about it. People are saying we're gonna endure, we're gonna make the most of it. You know, just talking to my family even here, my grandma, my aunt. There's also a big reason for why I go out into the world. You know, if you know me, my background, I've always kind of grew up in a low-income family. It was always tough, but I've been given chances. So my family immigrated to Europe. From there, I've been living in the US. And I've always felt like whenever people were complaining about let's say, let's say, you know, the opportunities, they're so competitive in Central Europe, in a country where the world is at your feet, if you see it like that. So that's, back then I did all kinds of different jobs, started to do some online content, some online businesses. YouTube is one of the things that I do, and one of the things that allowed me to, yeah, come and visit my family. And whatever I make in a week for them, like they stopped doing renovations at home. That was also one of the reasons why I wanted to come back, to support them directly with what for me is nothing huge, but for them, hopefully they'll finish the renovation. Like you have seen before a little bit in the coverage that I did, I covered the bad, the effects of the war, but even more so, I also, at the same time, as kind of conflicted inside of me it was, I wanted to show the beauty and the resilience of the country, the people, and hopefully at some point be able to shoot my regular go-to content where I share with you the benefits of certain places for travel, maybe for remote living. This is mostly what my channel has been about, and in many ways I'm also even more grateful and feel even more responsibility to help my family in bigger ways than just some money. Help the country, hopefully soon, in terms of documenting all the amazing different cities. Each city that I visited for a couple of days over the last couple of weeks deserve a video in itself. From what I understand, there's mountains in this country that, yeah, I hope you can visit one day sometime soon. And so, on that note, Slava Ukraini, and see you in the next one.